Lord, we thank you for this day that we've had and all the blessings therein. We thank you for this opportunity that we can come together as community leaders. We pray that you'll help us keep our minds on the business at hand, and pray that decisions will be made in accordance to your will. Pray that you continue to bless us and keep us safe. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Call the meeting to order. First thing on the agenda is approve the minutes from the previous meeting. I entertain a motion.
Make a motion.
Motion by Darren, second by Tommy. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, we have approved payment of bills. Entertain a motion.
Make a motion.
Motion by Neil,
Second.
second by Brian. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, we have approved treasurer's budget transfers as presented. Entertain a motion. Motion by Tommy, second by Neil. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, we have approved Jaber's payment of bills. Entertain a motion.
Make a motion.
Motion by Brian, second by Neil. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, we have approved Jaber's budget transfers as presented. Entertain a motion. Motion by Tommy, second by Darren. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, we have approved Jaber's 2019-2020 salaries. Anybody got any questions on that or anything? Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Brian, second by Neil. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Approved Jaber's 2019-2020 budget. Y'all have had a couple of days, I guess, to look over it. So everything look good?
Yep.
All right. Entertain a motion.
Make a motion.
Motion by Darren, second by Tommy. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, we have approved to sell the jail surplus vehicles. They got a list of it here, Jason.
I sent an email.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah, we got it. Yeah.
Any questions on
They
it?
shield bids?
So we're gonna do the gov deals.
Oh, okay.
Like,
We've been having a look out of that.
Okay.
Yep. Any questions? Need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Brian, second by Neil. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, we have the rural secondary road program.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
Before I get started, introduce some fellows that are with me, if you don't mind. I've got Bo Warren on the far left there. That's the branch manager out of E-Town. And then the guy that's most important to Grayson County probably should be Mark Stone, who's foreman there.
I wouldn't go that far.
Okay, we'll back off a little bit, but hopefully most of you do know Mark and then know that he is the source to go to if you've got issues within the state routes around Grayson County. But if I could present today's, this year's program. In front of you, I gave you a couple handouts there. The first is the secondary program for this year. Of course, the program is funded by 22.2% of the motor fuel tax receipts. These funds are allocated to all 120 counties based on the 5-point formula. That 5-point formula being 1/5 equal among all counties, 1/5 based on the rural population, 1/5 based on the road miles, and 2/5 based on the land area. Of course, once that county's money is allocated to that county, it's not transferable to another county. So in other words, one, if we don't use all of the funds up in that year and there's some left over, it will carry over to the next year. Is there any questions about that? Okay, for this year's program, if you look at number one, of course, the priority is the routine maintenance and traffic money at $579,100. That's the money that allows us to do the maintenance on the rural secondary roads. Next, we have the county judge executive expenses, which is set by statute at $2,400. Then the first priority we have is Kentucky 3210 from Kentucky 2778 at mile point 0 to a pavement joint 2.448 miles away, the total distance being 2.448 miles, at approximate cost of $173,400. The next priority there, we have the Kentucky 1133 from Chill Road at mile point 5.275 to Kentucky 187. That's at mile point 9.077. That total distance being 3.802 miles for approximate total cost of $306,560. Then our fifth priority we have is Kentucky 736 from an existing pavement joint at the 7.2 mile point to Kentucky 54, which is at the 11.238 mile point, that total distance being 4.039 miles. Approximate cost of that is $302,000. Then our last final priority number 6 is Kentucky 2777 from US 62 at mile point 0 to Kentucky 54 at mile point 1.10. Total distance, of course, being 1.1 miles at approximate cost of $86,000. Our total program for the year would be $1,449,460. Are there any questions?
Anybody got any questions about it? Anything?
These roads that will be funded,
Sorry?
these will be funded?
Yeah, I think we're just a little bit over programmed for the amount of money we truly have, but not a whole lot, but the majority of these will be done. So, and then just to let you know about some other, we have another pot of money for the FD05, which is our state primary routes. We'll be doing Kentucky 88 from Kentucky 226 to Kentucky 889. Then we'll be doing Kentucky 224 from 2779 to the Hart County line. Then we'll be doing Kentucky 54. That'll be from Kentucky 79 to Kentucky 2804. So those are some more roads that you'll see some resurfacing done.
2804, that's west, right?
Hopewell. Hopewell.
Hopewell Road to
Yeah.
79.
So that's some more that's resurfacing that you'll see.
I've had a lot of people ask me, is there anything in the plans in the future for 54 west to the county line? The Ohio County line, it's a good, bad change.
It is, right now, we don't have anything on the books, but it is obviously on everybody's radar. We've had some meetings, looking at the next highway plan, and that's one that we've talked about, looked at trying to make it a priority down the road.
Great.
Anybody else got any questions about anything?
Any questions, guys?
Sounds good.
Just throw another thing at Grayson County's way. I don't know if most of you have heard about the Bridge in Kentucky program. It's 1,000 bridges that they want to redo in the next 6 years. Grayson County is going to have one of those bridges, the Horntown Road. It was scheduled for April letting, but it's been pushed out to June right now. But it is coming down the pike.
Taylor Fork's still on that, isn't
That's one I don't have on there, but I'm just giving you the ones I got that are coming up real close in the letting, real
it?
soon.
Yeah, that's some of them that they changed the weight limits on, and it's sort of hard to drive a Ford Focus across that Taylor Fork Bridge without being out of compliance, so.
Yeah, and
That's down.
you can go online, Bridge in Kentucky, it'll pull up a website. You can go on there and click on another icon, and it'll actually bring up all the bridges in the state and show you the ones that are up for rehab. One of the good things about what they have let so far, the costs have been lower than what they've expected. So they have accelerated another 120 bridges, which is a good thing. So hopefully this is good for everybody.
It is.
Take some of the bridges that are closed currently and get them back open up, get them up to where they can safely hold buses and emergency vehicles.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
What was his name again?
Bo
No.
Warren.
Warren.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you. Next, we have county clerk request to increase pay for precinct workers. Charlotte, you want to tell them a little bit about it?
Yeah, currently the precinct workers, it's a 12-hour day, and we really struggle to get workers. They're currently making $130. That's $20 if they go to the school, which is usually about a 2 or 3 hour class, and $110 for the day of election. So it's from like 6 to 6 when the polls are open, but they're expected to be there at least by 5:30, and then just whatever time they get out of there. I was hoping to I called Hardin County and called Breckenridge County to kind of get the prices that they pay their workers. Hardin County pays $150 a day, and that's kind of what I was wanting to see if we could increase ours to try to try to get some workers, because we struggle every election trying to get somebody to work.
I struggled last year bad.
Yeah, I mean, we were having to face like Republicans for Democrats, I mean, yeah, we really struggle.
They have to put so many Republicans in the precincts and so many Democrats.
Yeah, there's 22 precincts, so there's 4 workers to each precinct, 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats. And it's hard finding workers. So we thought maybe from a little bit more money might give them incentive to, maybe we can get some workers in.
Yeah, and plus, be aware too that we've got, when are we gonna have to buy voting machines next year?
Probably so.
Next year, we're gonna have to be buying voting machines because the ones that we have are currently gonna be out of date. And so, and they're quite expensive, quite pricey.
Yeah.
So, and me and Charlotte's talked about doing some different options, maybe putting some of the precincts, maybe a lot of the schools. I think there's quite a few at middle school
Yeah,
right
like we
now.
have 3 precincts now in the middle school. So we're kind of talking maybe like the 2 precincts that's at the courthouse, moving them to the middle school as well.
So that way we'd have
cut down
to cut down a little bit and have one
on the
location.
cost.
Because it cost us, what, about $3,000 per precinct? It's about
We got to cut
$3,000.
down on your people or just your location?
The amount of machines that we had to purchase. The new system, the machines could feed off of the one main.
How much is that one machine that we looked at?
Oh, it was $6,000 for the one part, and then the scanner was $3,000.
Yeah, it's like $9,000 per machine.
On 3 of them.
No, there's more than 23 of them. We've got more than that. I mean, as far, because sometimes there's 2 in one precinct. It's just something to think about later on.
As far as the employee, I think we should get that.
It's a long day for them.
Yeah.
Well, and plus, I think, I don't know if it's passed or not, there's been so much stuff come out of legislation, but I think they've even talked about extending the hours to 8 o'clock, from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. I don't know if that passed, did that
It's not
pass?
passed yet, but I know the meeting I went to back in February, they talked, they said there was some power behind that one. They were really wanting to push that.
I think what they're trying to do is get the percentage of people, the numbers up. A lot of people says they can't get in time. And then the last election, I've had several people tell me that work at Purdue in Ohio County, they couldn't get the cane to vote. in time.
Yeah, they even mentioned like the clerk's office is being open on Saturdays, like the 3 Saturdays before the election, to like 8 o'clock that morning.
So, Tommy, your motion is to go ahead and raise it to 150? Second. All right, motion by Tommy, second by Darren, all in favor? Okay, any opposed? We will raise it. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
I think that's-
All right, we've got on the agenda, we need to go into executive session, reference to litigation issues. Need a motion in a second.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Brian, second by Tommy, all in favor?
Can the record reflect that that is a motion to go into closed session to discuss pending litigation?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Need a motion and a second to come back from executive session. Motion by Neil, second by Brian, all in favor? All right, well, we was talking about possible litigation for the county and no action was taken. All right, other new business. Wayne, you want to go ahead and go?
Thank you for allowing us to come back and answer any questions you might have. If I could, before I do that, I would just like to make a few brief comments. The booklet that I gave you, I guess it was a month or so ago, had a lot of information in there about the hazards of secondhand smoke. And there was an article in the Bowling Green Daily News talking about their smoke-free ordinance down there. They've had it 8 years, since 2011. And in that article, it really summed up the hazards of secondhand smoke. And I just want to share that with you. It says secondhand smoke poses threats to everyone exposed. For children, it can cause sudden infant death syndrome, ear infections, colds, pneumonia, bronchitis, and severe asthma, and harms the development of children's lungs. For pregnant women, it can cause pregnancy complications, poor birth outcomes, preterm deliveries, and low birth weights. For adults, it can cause premature death, heart disease, stroke, lung cancer, lung disease, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, emphysema, asthma, and chronic bronchitis. And it just goes on to say there are no safe levels of secondhand smoke. So we know it's a health issue. I don't think there's any argument to that, exposure to secondhand smoke. I shared with you in the information that we gave out that it's something the majority of folks are in favor of and support. So on the state level, I think it was 66% of the citizens of the Commonwealth support smoke-free laws. And then locally, the survey we did, it showed it was about 82% of folks support smoke-free ordinance in our community and county. Norman's not here, but I was going to share with him that I don't think there's been any issues enforcing the ordinances that Litchfield, Caneyville, and Clarkson have passed. So it's not a law enforcement issue. I think it's each of those communities have found that it's pretty much self-policing. And then lastly, I guess I would want to say that you have an opportunity here if you see fit to move a smoke-free ordinance forward. It could have a positive effect on the health of our community. The majority of folks support it. And I guess best of all, it won't cost us anything. It's just action that you need to take as the governing board here. So with that, Trevor and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have about the information that we gave you or any other comments that you might have.
Guys, y'all got any questions for Trevor or Wayne?
You're talking about out in the county. Who are you really talking about out in the county?
Well, to me, the advantage of a county-wide ordinance, it would cover folks that aren't covered now, and we're talking about no smoking in public places and workplaces. Secondly, each city has their own ordinance, and they're not all alike. So a countywide ordinance, as Jeremy and I have found out, would supersede, if they're more stringent, than any city ordinance. So, for instance, Caneyville's just covers their city buildings, which is very few. In contrast, Clarkson's ordinance doesn't allow smoking in any public buildings or workplaces. So, it would be up to you guys to how strict you wanted to make an ordinance. But it would include all of our citizens, and it would supersede any of the ordinances that are currently in place.
So you don't really have the designated location. You're saying it'd be up to us
Yeah, well, the other
Let's say,
thing-
for instance, just say, if it's countywide, say we go out here to Dog Creek Campground. No, you're saying if it's countywide, there's no smoking in that campground?
well, it's however you know, in a campground.
Just a question.
Smoke-free ordinances, you can make them as strict as you want. For instance, the one in Bowling Green covers public parks. None of our ordinances cover any outside areas.
Oh, okay. Just
I
curious.
think it's just like Litchfield's public buildings and
Workplaces.
anything where the public can go into, like a restaurant or.
Any food
So
mart
if
store
it
out in the
passed, you would have to
county.
do a list or something, right?
Yeah, we would have to actually adopt how we was gonna do it, whether we do county buildings, which most of the county buildings are in the city, and which nobody smokes here anyway. Whether or not you would exempt, like Short Creek's about the only place that I found that actually allows smoking in convenience stores.
And of course, it would protect, in the future, if anybody came in and started a business, you want to protect workers from exposure to secondhand smoke. It would protect them. You know, we just have regulations that would be followed.
So it's pretty much like business and convenience stores and
Any
stuff like
any
that, right?
public place or workplace.
Yeah.
So you could-
It's not like that, right?
You could broaden it, but mainly this is focusing on indoor areas where you're confined, you can't escape that.
Yeah.
So, you know, even though Bowling Green's got the ordinance that covers park areas, there's going to be places where different people congregate there where, you know, that's going to keep that from happening. But if you're out by yourself, you know, you can structure the ordinance in any way you choose.
So we've got a smoking ban now in the 3 cities, Clarkston, Caneyville, Litchfield. I don't like cigarette smoking, I don't smoke. I've talked about this, at Short Creek, and I actually believe if I voted for a smoking ban at Short Creek store, they wouldn't allow me in. That's how, I mean, they hang out down there, and that's the guys, you know,
Well, you want to protect other folks that are going in there from exposure to secondhand smoke. And, you know, I think there haven't been any issues with any of our cities that have implemented it. You know, in the county, you know, farmers, it didn't hurt their business. They used to allow smoking. The Mexican restaurant there on 62, you know, I think they actually did away with smoking prior to the ordinance going into effect. But when we first came here, they.
See, in mine, you got Kirby's, and they did that back, they did that for us anything, you know, when somebody else took it over, so that's basically a lot of got him, I just, out in the county, you know.
Yeah, Ralph's don't allow smoking.
So I said, they've already shut
It's
it
been
down.
said, doesn't allow smoking.
How are you going to enforce that? Or how would it be enforced?
The way they've done it in Bowling Green, and I assume that each of our cities has, if there's a complaint, then law enforcement would go out and could write a citation. The way the city of Litchfield did it, the first offense, it was, you know, it's a $50 fine. And they said down there, when they first implemented it, they had a few citations. After that, people got used to it, and it was just part of the culture.
We never had a problem with it. I was
With
chief.
complaints, is that what you're saying, Tim?
Yeah. I don't think no one's ever got one. I know I did, as a chief, I never got the first complaint. Only thing we got a complaint on is people throwing cigarette butts out by the hospital.
Yeah, that's a little more,
But again, like I said, so many motion passed, who writes the spec or the regulation?
Jeremy would write the
Or he would
ordinance,
put it
and then
together.
y'all would review it, and
He would put it together.
We would, and I've been in discussions with some people that have done this before. Basically, one, you'd have to figure out if you want to pass it, explore the idea of passing an ordinance. And then two, we would have to draft one up and have you all review it to see what level you would want. So there's a lot of ifs here. The first big question is, do you want a smoking ordinance? And the second is, well, what kind do you want?
So we wouldn't really even know if we were passing an ordinance till we see how it's drawn up, right or wrong.
Well, no, you need to discuss on what you're going to do, whether or not you're going to allow it in public buildings, or you're just gonna not allow it in county government buildings, and which we have a few, you know, when, big voting houses and stuff, which they don't smoke in the voting houses anyway. And, basically all county buildings, you know, you don't smoke in them anyway, because most of it's in the city. But you'd have to determine on whether or not it was gonna be, you know, schools are smoke-free now, so they do that all the time. And whether or not she was gonna pass it for public buildings, Short Creek Store.
Yeah.
Anything that the public can access. If it's a private, if it's a private business that the public does not access, that, then people wouldn't be, they'd be exempt from it.
You could structure it that way, but that is one
Yeah.
thing we've seen, is it protects non-smoking workers from secondhand smoke in the workplace. So you can, you know, work with Jeremy, let him look at other ordinances, and you can structure it to cover workplaces as well, even if they're not public
Right.
access.
I'm not opposed, but I'm not a smoker.
And let me point out that, you know, it doesn't prevent anybody from smoking. You know, everybody's got a right to them to smoke.
Right.
It's to protect those people that don't smoke, exposure to secondhand smoke. So that's why it's public buildings and workplaces, so you can protect the public and employees.
So,
I would be okay with it in a government-owned building, but I'm not sure, I just don't think we could tell a business that a store like that they can put a sign up. It's kind of about, it's about choices. They would have to make it, you know.
well, you know, that's, I think that was brought up whenever I was down at the city too, is, you know, some of the people had a problem with, well, just take for instance, someone had a business and everybody in the business smoked, and I'm just saying, I'm just throwing this out there, say you sold bicycle helmets or whatever, that person that was coming in there, they had a choice not to come in there. They don't have to come in there. I think this came up at Farmers. I think he was talking about it at Farmers at the restaurant. And of course, I know Jill Winston them real well. You know, they said, well, if you don't want, I think you was there whenever he was saying it.
Well, you know,
when he said, you know, hey, if you know, we allow smoking and you don't like smoking, don't come in here and eat.
Yeah.
You know, he had that. You know,
What
that
you
type
have to
of-
remember is, majority of people don't smoke, even Short Creek. You know, those are in the minority. And it's shown that majority of people support these kind of laws. And the other thing, I don't think anybody, I understand that argument,
Yeah.
but I don't think anybody has the right to impose an unhealthy, such as secondhand smoke upon somebody else. Everybody ought to have the right to breathe clean air. I don't think anybody would argue with that. Nobody should have a right to impose an unhealthy situation on somebody else. And especially a worker. You know, you can say, well, they got a choice. Maybe they can work there, or if they don't want to work there and be exposed to it, they don't have to be.
Yeah, see, that's a little different. That's a little different.
But it is different.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they don't have a choice. Maybe that's where they want to work, and they ought to be able to work there and breathe clean air.
Do we have any statistics on, or any numbers on any places of employment that actually allow their workers to smoke while they're working, or,
Well,
you don't know anything?
I can tell you that,
Nobody in the county, there's not any places of employment?
Well, there's a lot of small business.
You know, I mean,
Yeah, body shops,
I mean,
just several different things open to the public, right?
Yeah. Things of that nature. But, you know, the thing of it is too, we never got complaints on stuff like that, even like say with Neil down at Danny's shop, you know, if, you know, you think Danny was gonna call the police on Slick for smoking back there in the paint room?
no.
You know what I'm saying? You know, that's why we never got caught before, you know, people done it and people moved it.
That probably still happens in some of these places it's banned, it probably still, I know for a fact, I don't do it.
Well, the way the Litchfield
Body shops.
ordinance is written, and I can't say that I agree with this, but the way it's written, a business that's open to the public, say, if you're going to have your oil changed, that waiting area where you wait is smoke free.
Yeah.
But back in the area where the workers are working, they can smoke. Litchfield, that's the way they wrote their, the way the ordinance is here. I don't agree with that because it doesn't protect the worker.
So that's how the city of Litchfield is written?
Clarkson includes all workplaces.
Yeah. I say it's worth looking into. I don't know.
I mean,
It's up to you all. Y'all got to initially vote on it. If y'all got any questions, or if you want Jeremy to get Litchfield's ordinance and Clarkson's ordinance and some of the other ordinances and
What I feel like we need to do, probably.
look at them and.
I mean, what we're asking is for you guys to let Jeremy draw up an ordinance and then consider making that law for the county.
And it may be easier for you to discuss the ins and outs of it once he's got some framework.
Right.
Well, they can get with him, I mean, they can get with him one-on-one basis and tell him, say, look, I think this is good, and I don't like this, or I like this, and give a take on it.
And what I can do as well, Judge, is I have a model that's been made available to me. It's a model ordinance from one of these groups that puts smoke-free ordinances in, and it pretty much includes everything in it. And so if you want to look at that, I'll provide that to you along with some of the other things.
Would that be okay, Wayne?
Yeah, that'd be fine, and then you can discuss it. And you know, I guess you'd have to have the first reading, second reading.
Yeah,
If you
anytime we
move
pass
forward.
ordinance, we have to do that, so.
Yeah.
That way, give them a little bit of time, they could get with him and tell him, stuff that they like or stuff that they don't like.
Yeah.
He could draw something up and see if, it might pass, it might fail, so, depends on.
That's the first step.
It
That's what
gives them,
we're
it gives them
asking
some options,
Sure.
I know there's some other, places out in the county that probably, they don't want anything to do with it, as far as smoking ordinance goes. But, because some of them, they're not necessarily private business, but people do, the public does go there also, so. That's something we just have to look at.
Is it legal, this is kind of maybe a little bit different, is it legal for say a parent driving an automobile with the windows up, toddlers in the vehicle, full of smoke? Is that legal?
There's actually not a criminal charge against it.
I don't think you get into that. I mean, a lot of us grew up that way, didn't we?
I see that quite often, it really bothers me.
It's an interesting question, but I think there is some discussion in certain areas of the nation about, within city municipalities, about doing away with that. Because, I'm not saying I agree with this, but some people are going out to the far extent saying, let's child abuse. You're subjecting that child to something that they had no choice with. So, I do want to go on record saying that they bang you from Short Creek, you're still looking at me.
Thank you, Trevor.
Yeah. All right, well, Wayne, we'll get with Jeremy and I'll stay in touch with you, and let you know how it's going.
And we're available anytime anybody has questions or ideas you think around, or just want to discuss some of the ins and outs. So we're here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. Thank you, Trevor.
If I could request, I would like to put this model ordinance together, something for you to look at, but I would not like to have the deadline of the next court date. I would like to have a month to do that,
Okay.
just to kind of give everybody's expectations
So
on the same
April?
page.
First meeting in April?
2 weeks from now, pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. First meeting in April, be okay, Wayne?
That's fine. What's the date of that?
Yeah, there's something else too. We've got, that's spring break. Has anybody got any kind of issues? No, you've got kids, don't you?
I won't be here.
Spring break. That might be something we need to look at. First meeting is on the 2nd.
Do the next meeting after that.
Can we do it on, the next meeting will be the 16th of April. we could have a meeting on the 9th, we'd have one on the 9th and the 16th.
Catch up.
To just pay bills, you know, so we don't run into late bills. Unless y'all got something going on the 9th, but that's, there's a lot of people that's got spring break stuff
I
going
can
on.
understand that, yeah.
So probably have to do that during fall break too. Y'all got any questions or anything, or is that okay with everybody?
That's fine with me.
Thing?
So tonight,
So night.
Yeah, we'll have a meeting on the 9th, or something, a special call meeting, so. Instead of having it on the 2nd, we're gonna move it to the 9th. Yeah, so I need a motion and a second to go ahead and move the April the 2nd meeting
Make a motion.
to April the 9th. 5 o'clock, same time. Need a motion. Motion by Darren, second by Tommy, all in favor? Any opposed? Be the 9th.
yes,
Okay. All right, no new business, Jason. Have any new business? Darren? Tommy?
I'm gonna see what, some thoughts on, county off law, but, just a thought I've been thinking about. Up at, up by Litchfield Church, they have that little pantry, you know, people stop by and put canned food and stuff like that in. I just wonder if it'd be worthwhile for, say, all of us guys, 6 guys in our district, to pick out a couple spots, to put a couple of those up out in our district for volunteers to put canned food, stuff like that in for people out in the community, if maybe county would pay for installing them or something like that. Just something to do for the community. I know that one up there, I ordered the other day, we do it every now and then, but I stopped by and put probably 15, 18 cans of food, honest to God. And I went to Walmart, come back through about 25 minutes later, and there was 1 can left in that. I know it probably gets abused to an extent, but you know, it might just be something that would help some people on out in the county, to some of the people that can't get to the store or just that might need it. Just a thought.
We have one at Caneyville.
Oh, do you?
Well, it's a Caneyville Baptist Church, and I've stopped there and put stuff in it, and I'm like you go by there, I filled it up before, and you go by there the next day and it's empty.
So it probably does get abused, but it probably still, on the other hand, probably does have some people that could really use it. But,
Who's in charge of that one? The church?
the church put it in, but everybody puts food and stuff in it, whoever.
They put a sign on there, I think it's leave what you can, take what you need.
Yeah, but it just, like I said, just an idea. I don't know if it's worthwhile,
So
what
if
we're
y'all
thinking
want to
about.
get together, y'all want to get together and do that, you know, it's something we'd have to look at as far as county. We'd have to get with Jeremy and find out. Everything we do, we've got to look at litigation
Okay.
issues, so.
Our county food pantry distributes food all over the county
Yeah.
already.
Yeah, so.
And our church has gotten quite involved in it now.
Yeah.
We've got a truck that
Go ahead there.
we go and load it every month. We've been getting more involved in it. There is a need in the county.
I'm not saying not do it, I'm just saying y'all might not be aware of that, but
Went out and about.
if you had been over, it's worth going to visit. It's at the old, their old Sloan Garden building in the back of it.
We've been doing a lot of work for them over there. We put in new walk-in freezers for them. Of course, you know, they're a nonprofit.
Yeah.
And so we've helped them out a lot. The city did too. They had to get a new roof put on, didn't have it, we ended up paying
So
for
they
it.
actually have a truck that goes all out in the county.
Yeah,
Well, with the jail,
Yeah.
it usually hauls it out the county, but the county's got it.
I didn't
You guys
know-
have a
I
box
didn't know
truck,
that.
right?
yeah.
Jail?
We go get food every Thursday in the
Yeah.
winter time.
And
Sometimes
deliver it to
sometimes we
people
have to
in the
go,
county?
sometimes we
Well,
have to go
we'll
get it.
take it up, you can go there and pick it up, or they'll have different areas, like in Caneyville, goes, I think, to the Christian church.
Okay, so
Is that right?
people come to the.
And they come to that
Okay.
church and pick it up,
What's the
and then sometimes the church will deliver it to people that can't get out.
I didn't know that. I knew they had a pantry here in Litchfield, I guess. I thought people went there and got it.
No, it's
I'm gonna start going to get.
pretty big setup. Pretty big setup. Anything else on it?
I'm done, I'm sorry.
Dane, you got anything new?
yes, he's not from my district, but he has approached me, the gentleman from Nelson Road would like to say a word or two. You want to come up and say a word to him about what you were interested in talking about?
Yeah, what about the Nelson Road? And we really need something done with it, bad. And it's gonna get worse. Since they put that bypass in, put that ramp in, I've got semis, box trucks, all the construction, especially when they start back down on the lake, start building. If they buy concrete in E-Town, all the concrete trucks come through there. All the lumber trucks. I live on one side of the road, I got a little garage on the other side of the road I monkey in. At times I've got to stand there and wait for the traffic, it's just like I was crossing 62. And they fly. They got both sides of that road watered out, they got my yard watered out. If you go up through there, on either side of the road, where they, one's pushed the other one off, it's just,
You still living down there in the curve, down there in the little curve, in the S curve, where the S curves are at?
No, he's actually closer to 1214.
I'm closer to 88.
I mean 88, yeah, I'm sorry, 88, he's close to the 88 end of it,
Gotcha, I thought you were down
by the Bill Lee farm out there.
Yeah, used to be built east, now it's,
Yeah.
now it belongs to Thorny. Where it needs a speed limit on it. And it should have if they do anything with it, there should be a line put on it or something so that they can distinguish. I've got a tree that belongs to the county out there. They don't have to come out there and trim it because the semi trucks and the box trucks keep the limbs trimmed down coming through.
Yeah, it is a real issue.
Yeah, that's a main cut through for everybody that's going to the lake.
Everybody that's going to the lake,
Talked to Damon about it, actually today, I guess.
well, it's not in Damon's district.
No, but he has approached me about it, and it used to be when I was manager of the first district, it was concerned back then, and it's
And I understand that my magistrate's in rough shape. I went through it. I know what it's to go through. It's rough, but I
We'll
mean,
look into it.
Yeah, we can definitely look into it and see about maybe getting it widened or something, so, because I know there's a lot of traffic goes through there. We actually put some blacktop down on that, last year before last. through the
year
lake.
before last,
Yeah.
when Thornhill put a new fence in, put blacktop to the top of my hill.
Yeah, it was about a mile of it's what they done. So.
Yeah, and they're getting off on that already. I mean, anybody wants to take a ride out there and drive through there, you don't need your glasses on in order to see it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
Well, we'll look into it. We appreciate you coming and letting us know about it.
okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Brian?
Excuse me, I just had one more thing to say before we move on. I didn't mean to take up your time, but I'd had a fire this last week, and we don't think about things like that until it happens to us. I wanted to publicly thank East Grayson County, Clarkson, and Litchfield Fire Departments on their response times and what good job they've done for me.
Yeah.
They saved a lot of my property, and people ought to be awfully thankful to these fire departments. Consideration in the future.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Dave. Anything, Nate? All right. Any old business?
Judge, I have some new business.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, that's all right. This is, it kind of has to do between an agreement that me and our jailer, Mr. Woosley, talked about this morning. Okay, sorry. Me and Jason have been talking about an agreement. There's an opportunity here for, I think, my office to save the county some money and save the jail some money. There's been this program that's been utilized before called Rocket Docket. Basically, the situation briefly is in the judicial system on Thursdays, part of my prosecution is that there's people charged with felonies and they got to come through district court, and I'm the prosecutor, or my assistants are the ones that prosecute them. when they're first charged with a felony, they become a county inmate if they're in jail. So they're on the county's dime. And that's 45, we think roughly $45 a day that costs the county. What we're trying to get them to move on through the system and become state inmates. I mean, that's ultimately that, or begin their supervised probation, get off the county ticket. Now, we're not going to be letting people out of jail that need to be in jail, but we have some time frames there where they're sitting in jail that we would rather them be state inmates and off of our budget. At $45 a day, it adds up very quickly. If you have 10 inmates that spend an extra 30 days on in county, then you're looking at, you know, a lot of money there. Jason has agreed, if the court will vote on this and agree as well, to transfer $12,500 of the jail's funding to my office to hire someone specifically to help transfer this, make this more quickly so we can save that time, basically an informal rocket docket. The Commonwealth attorney and I have already met, and we're going to cooperate together to get them transferred quickly, more quickly up to circuit court where they're going to be ultimately prosecuted. His budget is a lot larger than my budget as far as the state's concerned, and so he has a person that will basically feed us the forms we need. The person that I hire with this funding will go through the forms, give it to the defense attorney or give it to the defendants, and then they will basically move through the system quicker. So I'm asking for the court to make a motion and to vote on the matter to transfer $12,500 to the county attorney from the jail.
$45 a day is $16,425 in a year's time. So if he gets one inmate that might be sentenced to 365 days in county time to a felony charge to a year, the time frame's the same, but it changes it from misdemeanor to a felony, and then it turns that state inmate to basically half of that expense, because the state pays us to house those inmates. And then if they're leveled out to be a working inmate, then we get the benefit from them working in the community also. So if we just get one inmate, basically what I'm saying, if we get one inmate pushed on through, then it pays it back.
And we'll get that.
And y'all, yeah, we're good.
And also, there's another benefit to it as well. We've got officers sitting all afternoon on Thursdays, and Norman's deputies, I've got 2 or 3 Norman's deputies every time I've got court. They're sitting there instead of being out on the road or being off with their families. So that'll save us a little more money and get them out to make it a little bit safer and have more people out, so.
You talk to Rick about it?
I have, and Rick is all for it.
Good.
We're ready to
He
get
said
started.
that he was the last time I talked to him. Good.
Yeah.
And then I've already discussed this a lot.
Yeah, I don't know much about it. Jeremy might can talk more about it, but there is a state grant available to the Commonwealth Attorney's Office that we did have at one time. Previously, the jail had given the Commonwealth Attorney's Office $5,000 a year. We didn't give anything last year.
They didn't do it.
Well, they lost the grant.
Yeah.
I'm not throwing blame at anybody, but there wasn't enough outcome seen out of it for them to keep the grant. So we think this might be a better fix for us.
This will be a little different system, and the Commonwealth Attorney in Hardin County, Shane Young, he utilizes this. The county, he told me, actually invest over $100,000 a year in their program, but they have a huge population right in there. They've got a huge docket, and it's able to save them that money. It's an investment by the jail and by the county that pays off. And I told Jason, I said, if this doesn't work out this year, if you don't see that that's saving any money, then we won't do it next year. But with me focusing on it, and I've got a big incentive here too to help kind of make the system go faster. With me doing it personally, working with this one person whose sole job is to basically save the county money in this aspect, then I think we can see a good dividend pay out.
So this is for an employee, right?
Yes.
So, and one inmate in a year's time, as you say, would be 16.5, and this employee, we have 12.5, and then we want to be out insurance as well too, right?
Well, it
Health
depends.
insurance and benefits.
It depends because one of the people I have in mind is retired, and they don't need the insurance. You know, I've got an employee in my child support office now that can only make so much money and is not insured and not need retirement. And so I'm not asking for 12,500 plus the other things. I'm just asking for the 12,500.
Just that period.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you, I know about this right now. I've been around. It saves Hardin County about $2 million a year.
Yeah, I think Shane's probably the best in the state as far as.
Shane is, he gets $100,000 from the fiscal court up there, and it saves them $2 million a year at their jail. Of course, we're the only, we're very unique. We're the only county in the whole state that we don't give the jail money. So, Jeremy, I mean, I think, you know, if y'all got any questions, I think you need to do it myself personally, because it, in the long haul, it's gonna get these people to be state inmates a little bit quicker instead of being on the county's dime, so. My opinion, unless y'all got any questions. Entertain a motion. Motion by Tommy, second by Damon, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. And me and Jason will form a written agreement concerning that matter.
If y'all follow that, it's good.
All right, other old business. Philip, you got anything?
No, I'm just here.
Just here hanging out?
Sure.
Anybody else got anything? Brian, you got anything? If you want to get with us, yes, sir.
I'd like to see a thing too.
Yeah, come on up.
Hello, Rudolph.
Howdy. Grayson County Fiscal Court, I'm Rudolph Lang, I was raised and born in Short Creek, live in the city of Litchfield, I work for the city. I started this a couple of years ago with Ashley Gary Lawson. I'd like to see this county get a nuisance law. Say like you judge, you got a nice house and farm, and I got a junkie one and a bunch of filth across it. It don't look good on you, and it hurts the value of my property. I don't know if he ever got anywhere with it, but Gary told me he was working on this. I think it'd be a good thing myself. If we got a lot of places in this county, it need to be cleaned up. I like to be pretty clean and neat myself. And I was wondering if we might consider this or.
Yeah, it's, Rudolph, there was I found an old ordinance back in the 80s that we started using because there's nothing on per se junk, vehicles, lawnmowers, that type of stuff. There's nothing on the books. There is, however, something for garbage. And we've been enforcing the garbage one. I've been sending, me and Norman's got together, and Dee Dee Whiteley actually takes the complaints through solid waste. She then sends a form over to Norman, and then he sends an officer out, or herself goes out. It's got to be garbage. Brian's called me twice, I guess. Two or three times, and we've been able to do something with those, and we can actually clean them up. And I've got with Jason too, and we'd have to get, it's going to take a while to get something done. But I've got with Jason too, there's some folks that, there's one in St. Paul in particular that I'm talking about that's in bad shape, and it's got garbage out there. And I was going to get with Jeremy and see if there's some way to get the garbage cleaned up. And if the folks can't do it, we'd have to go through the court system to have it done. And then we could get the jail inmates. If we have a court order by a district judge, am I right, Jason? If we have a court order by a district judge, we can put these state inmates on that property to clean it up. But we have to have a court order from a judge, so then we have to make it criminal. So it's this one old ordinance is criminal, but it's only for garbage.
What would that be against somebody if you couldn't get them to do it, misdemeanor charge or felony?
I think it's just a violation.
It's a violation, it's a fine.
What kind of fines on that?
If I'm not mistaken, I think it's $100 is what the fine
Plus
is.
court costs, it's 50,
Yeah.
I think it's $50 to $100 in court cost, really. And then when we get those, we're like, just clean it up before this date, and we won't fine you. But if they still don't do it, and then we fine them, and they still don't clean it up, then we fine them again. You know, you're trying to force people with fines.
Well, is there any way you could get that more serious and really get somebody's attention?
That's something that the court would end up having to vote on, that we'd have to talk about as far as passing a nuisance ordinance. And Litchfield's actually got one too, but it don't have a lot of teeth in it, because you can go around Litchfield and see,
Yes, sir.
you know, some different stuff. And I think Denny Ventress is the new city attorney. I think he's been looking into some stuff and trying to get that done. But you have a lot of, that's something that we probably have to do a lot of looking at, because you got a lot of farmers out here that's got a lot of property.
Exactly.
You know, with tractors sitting out and a lot of equipment and stuff. So, you know, it's something that you really have to look at and study and not do overnight to make sure you don't alienate some of these folks, you
Well,
know.
I'm talking about like, I'm pretty sure Meade County's got one. But I'm talking about like, say, an old house trailer sitting there, and tin cans, paper, I mean, just everything that's going around. And
Yeah, we get complained every week. And I know Brian's got a bunch, because he's called me.
The problem with mobile homes is, and I get calls on them myself, it's so expensive to remove them. They charge anywhere from $659 or $50 to receive one after it's transported up there. And a lot of them are so dilapidated that it takes so much money, you know, to get them where you can tow them.
what,
The way to do it, I mean, it's like the track over dumpsters, it's a big expense. A lot of people, they inherit these things, they buy this property, and then some of them don't have the money, you know, to do it, so it's a fine line. I don't know.
Looks
These
like
people
it.
did do, but there's a fine line there. I think we gotta be careful. But I agree with you, there is.
looks like it ought to leave the property owners probably clean that up.
Yeah, what we'd have to do is make it a criminal charge. I mean, if it's something passed, and if they didn't abide with the court's decision, which would be through district courts where it would be, if they didn't abide by the decision, that's whenever we could kick in and have the jail clean it up. But then, you know, we'd end up having to send the sheriff out there to stand by while we clean the property up and this and that. And then whatever monies we was out, this is some of the other ordinances that I've read from the other counties. What we'd have to do is then send them a bill for the monies that the county was out to clean that property up. And they'd have to pay restitution through the court. So, you know, it'd be a pretty lengthy process, you know, to get done. But you're not the first person that's asked me about those type of ordinances.
If you want to get a complaint started, do you start with the county attorney?
As far as, depending on what it is, if it's just garbage only, you can get with me. I can have Dee Dee, you know, send a complaint form over to the sheriff's office, and then Norman and them go look at it, see what it is. They make a determination whether it's garbage, and I mean like garbage out of your kitchen bag.
I'm talking about garbage too.
Okay, yeah, that's, we can do something about that, because I found that old ordinance. And I think it was done back in the 80s, is when it was actually done. But as far as a new ordinance, as far as junk vehicles, you know, just junk sitting around, that'd be something new that we'd have to impose. And that's something that we'd have to get with Jeremy on and do a lot of research on. And because like I said, you don't want to alienate some of the farmers. They've got, you know, I drive down 259 South, and there's 2 or 3 places on the left down there. It's got old tractors sitting in the field and this and that. You don't want to alienate those folks, you know, so.
Okay. Grayson County Fiscal Court, thank you.
Thank you, Rudolph.
Thank you, Rudolph.
All right. Yeah, Phil, go ahead.
I might ask or make one comment on that.
Absolutely.
We know right now there's an ordinance against throwaway tires. I mean, would there be any way to, at some point, as far as automobiles, have a county cleanup where people could bring those, have a smashing machine of some
The
sort?
tires?
No, I'm talking about old throwaway automobiles, probably would be the next thing. Automobiles that are just junked out.
Actually, I think they'll pay you for,
Yeah.
you know, for the junk automobiles. They'll pay you scrap iron price. and I don't know, it's $3. What is it now, Tom?
Did the state have something done like that back a few years ago? Because I went with them and got a bunch of trucks that they brought in here. They had that countywide. When that
Well,
back.
we actually have something, I think the state done away with that. There's actually something called the tire amnesty now, which it's coming up in April.
Hardin County now.
What's the tire?
Going on Amnesty in Hardin County, that area is going on now.
Yeah, ours is in April, where you can bring in old tires. And Jason's crew and all their bunch, they go out and pick up all the old tires, like we find dumps and stuff. They go out and pick them up, and then we house them. And sometimes we get rid of them at a different amnesty area, like we did last year, I think, in Edwards.
You know, sometimes we pay to get rid of it, it depends on how many we have, if we get a large group.
But I've got with the city council and the mayor, and we're gonna do it this year at the transfer station. We used to do it up on the hill behind the county garage, and it's just not a good location. You can't get turned around and everything else up there, so we're gonna do it at the Litchfield transfer station. And anybody in the county can bring in as many tires as they want to. But as far as junk vehicles go, I mean, people wanna haul them off, they're actually paying $2 a ton, I think, somewhere around in there, for scrap tire.
$164 a ton as of the end of the day.
How much?
$164 a ton as of.
$164 a ton, so,
Just call us, we'll buy.
yeah.
Might be a
Will you
nuisance,
buy?
might be a nuisance.
Yeah, so. Anybody else got anything? Nobody? Any of you all, Jeremy? Anybody, sir? Need a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion, adjourn.
Motion by Darren, second by Tommy, all in favor?